Alright, do we have audio sync? Hopefully we do. Hopefully we've actually solved that issue with Open Broadcaster. Be nice if we have. Hey Christian and Andrew. Yeah, the USB machine's just no fun at all. No fun at all. This one's a little weird because I've got I've just been doing some pre-diagnostics work, and it looks like I've got stuff on the other side of the board where the liquid damage is, so it's a little confusing. Alright. Sorry, I'm just jumping around here doing some other things at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. Alright. Wow, that should suffice. Let's see, is the microscope kicking in? Oh, well, anyway. So I've found, even though it's only drawing half an amp at 5 volts, it's 2.5 watts, roughly. It's enough that if you leave the board for a little while, you will get a warm spot developing, or in this case, a comparatively warm spot. And so now I've got to work out whether I've got a dud chip or whether it's just something in the area or something specific to the chip that's pulling it down. So if we plug some power in, you can see it boil off there. And it seems to be like all around this region here. So I'm thinking, you know what, I'm really not sure what I'm thinking. What I did see is there's a couple of spit out balls here, and they looked a little different to the usual. That's just a protection diode for the input, 20 volts. I'm usually disinclined to tear those things off for testing because of the fact that if something does decide to come through, then it'll ruin your computer. So I think what we'll try is, maybe take the CD off and see what it looks like underneath. Who won the grand final? Don't know, wasn't watching. Sorry, not the answer people want. But really, I don't watch that stuff. Nothing personal against anyone. I'm just... though, reflecting back on what I saw in the newspaper this morning or online, I think it might have been a club called the Tigers or something, assuming it was the right football we're talking about. Hey Sparkies? Yes, it has been a while. Hey Mr. Sinister. Hey Marky. Well... Actually, no, I remember. Okay, what we'll do is we'll just give this a bit of a flux and boil, just in case there is something residing underneath, but we're not actually going to take it off yet. What I really need to do is check around on those caps, see if anything's feeling particularly low. It doesn't seem to be a hard short. If it is, it's more of just a accelerated drain. Sonia? It's a bit of a problem because I don't have any spares of these. I'm still waiting for my arrival of them. It takes a while for that. There's a lot of heat coming off that board. Maybe I should put freeze spray on it. Hey Rob. Rob, I made a couple of changes to those board files, so you'll want to make sure you do your git pull. Hey Kim. Hey Ed. Weird. I don't know why, but Open Broadcaster seems to periodically automatically record things. Hey, Aussie Geek. Like I say, go stream, and then I look back 5 minutes later and it's saying, "Hi, I'm recording stuff," and you're like, "What? I didn't ask you to do that. That's chewing up my CPU. Don't do that." Okay, I'm just going to see if we've got any change in our 20 volt line. Still looks much the same. Of course, it's not actually drawing 20 volts. Well, not getting up to 20 volts, rather. Let's see. Multimeter. Hey, schematics. Alright, now the question in my mind is, what is unique to U3100? Mr. Dickinson, thank you very much for the 10 quid. Greatly appreciated. You could have spent that on maybe betting on a soccer or football team. You could put it on Arsenal. So something up here, looking for something around here that is unique to this particular chip. Not really an easy thing. So UPC, clock data, it could really be anything. One thing I did notice is my G3 hotlines are a little bit on the low side. My 3v3 is actually down at 2.9. Hey Dan the Plumber, how's it going? So given that it's at 2.9, I would be starting to suspect something here. Let's check the diode mode on that. But it seems fine. 0.4, that's an entirely acceptable level. No, I realise that's why, Keen, that's why I'm testing other things to see what could be drawing that line, trying to find out what is unique to this particular chip, because obviously they have a lot of commonality with the other USB chips, but I need to find out what's unique on this one that would cause that potential issue. So we could be looking at maybe these caps up here, 3104. Although you would typically expect the cap itself to be getting angry. Kind of like that. But that is this one. That's a resistor, that's why. I think. Wait, what? What am I looking at? Oh, I'm one in. Okay, here we go. So that's 3108, and I've got my lines reversed anyway, so that probably was the problem. Well, that's distinctly not happy. Alright. I would have expected the cap to be firing up, but let's see, what is the purpose of this line? 3108, LDO, alright. So it's an LDO, V out. I might just try and knock it off, but I doubt that's going to be it, but who knows. Hey Martin, Mitch K. Like I said, I don't really believe that that's going to be at fault, but you never know. It's an easy enough thing to just knock it off. When I say knock it off, I don't mean in the physically break it off, I just mean we'll just push it off to one side. Like that. And then we can see if our short's gone. Because I mean, LDOs will have a slightly lower resistance simply because, you know, you do want your power supply to be as compliant as possible to requests, but there's also such thing as too low. Yeah, 0.005, that's... If we go to ohms, have a look at that, see what the ohms says. 5 ohms, yeah, not quite buying that, unless it's something like a 10 amp output. Okay, so what else is on that line? We've got a couple of resistors, 3108, 3109. What do you resistors do? Where are you even? 1 meg, so they're definitely not going to be playing into it. We basically do not have anything else on that line. Oh wait, what's on the other side? Got a test point, and that's about it. Mitch, thank you very much. Canadian 5, I'm always very happy to have Canadian stuff. Alright, so we're going to take the chip off just to see if this changes things. Now it's going to be a major pain if it is that chip because, like I said, I don't have access to them in a hurry. I've been trying to find someone in Australia who's got them, but I've been somewhat caught out with my pants down on this one. I do have the BO3 chips, but that's absolutely no good at all for me. I achieved a point of clarification last night that the suffix codes on these, they're kind of like if you think of the TriStars where you have the 610A3B and stuff like that. So basically the COO is a more recent one than the BO3. So you can put a COO in place of a BO3 but not the other way around. Obviously I'm going to have to reball that thing, but it's just the price you pay for diagnostics. Detailed explanations? You sure about that now, Sonia? I always thought I was a little bit vague at this stuff. Okay, so short is definitely gone there. Where do I put that chip? Oh, there it is. Okay, so which pin was that? That's second pin in from the top corner. Thanks, Sparkies. I'm doing well today. The cats are going to be happy. I'm going to have a bunch of food. Yes, the firmware revisions are different. So basically the COO is a more recent version of firmware than the other ones. So basically if you're buying these chips, you really only need to buy the COO ones. Alright, so if my brain is right, it should be that pin there and then another one further along, and I've just got to... I'll clean this chip up and we'll test those pins individually and see if we can find if it's the chip at fault or whether it was maybe just a bad ball touching somewhere. Let's see. Keen, it certainly wasn't a short anymore, but let's have a look at the ohmage. Or are you talking about what I was just saying then, which is we'll see if the chip itself has that resistance or not. So if we go to resistance mode on that pad, yeah, basically we get open circuit now. Did you see the EEV blog 1248? 0.02 process meter for I did not see that. I'll be honest and say I'm not actually even sure what I'd use that for. Care to give me a example? And right now, gross. I've got flux all over my fingertips. I mean, I've got gloves, but the trouble is you start transferring it onto everything. The other thing to keep in mind, of course, is that while I do a moderate number of things, I'm still pretty damn well in the dark about a lot of things. In fact, the more things I do, the more in the dark I am about everything else. What am I doing? The easiest way to do this is actually draw up the balls first. A lot easier with MacBook boards than it is on iPhone boards. You got plenty of room, you don't have to panic about everything. So I have to ask, how is the desktop voltmeter? I'm still planning on getting one. The VC8145, I'm probably going to retire it for something a little bit better where I don't have to use a software kludge to make it behave how I want. In terms of cheapness and everything, it's still, it's pretty good for a nearly empty box. Some people, in terms of usability, these B-side ADM20s, they're probably slightly better value. They have very fast updates. They've got a dependable USB interface. The 4AA battery power source makes it very long life. So if I wasn't after something that was specifically bench mounted, then I'd probably be fine with that ADM20. But I do want something bench mounted, so it's a bit of a moot point anyway. Hey, Steve Burridge. Where am I located in Australia? I'm in a town called Charters Towers. It's inland from a city called Townsville. And no, the Powerpuff Girls do not live there. It's in North Queensland. We're about 1,600 kilometres, I think. Or maybe about 1,200. Depends on whether you're talking about drive distance or as the crow flies. Anyway, we're a long way north of Brisbane. Which of course in itself is already a long way north of Sydney. We're further north of Brisbane than what Sydney is south of Brisbane. Now it sounds like a silly name, Townsville, because in itself that's kind of like saying Villeville. But the reason it is named that is because the person who founded it, so to speak, depends on what history you want to follow, his name was Robert Towns. So it was just an unfortunate combination that Robert Towns decided to call the place Townsville. Yeah, I do often wonder whether Townsville is considered far north Queensland or just simply North Queensland, because to me far north Queensland sort of starts at Innisfail, maybe Ingham at the lowest, or Cardwell. So if you had to ask me, I'd probably say Townsville is North Queensland. We've got to measure our resistance now on these pads. Now we've got to get the orientation right, but it can be a bit weird because you've got to do it backwards basically. Okay, so that there, which means that pin there is the one we want to test, and along with this one over here. Does Australia have dust storms? Dear goodness, yes it does indeed. Admittingly, they don't always make it to the coastal towns, but every now and then we do get them. They probably take up half the state. Kuchimudlo Island. Oh, there's some weird names they come up with. I guess it means something important in another language. Alright, so second pin in from the corner, and I just need to find a ground. Ground is pretty much anything in the middle. Okay, so second pin in. We'll just pick that U for ground. Showing 3.9. Interesting. .9 again. I haven't seen much of glitch. I think the thing that caught me with glitch was the fact that there was the thumbnail of the screen. It made the guy look like Ryan Reynolds. Okay, middle, offset one from the middle. Offset one from the middle. Okay, I must have this orientation wrong. So we've got pin one there. Let's flip this over. Yeah, I think I had it wrong. Or did I? No, I think I had that right. No, so I've got 3.98 meg to ground on that. And then those two should be the same though. And they're not. So I'm missing something here. Unless they are actually different pins and they're just tied together in the network. That's quite possible. What do we got? UPC XA LDO. No, those should be the same. Oh wait, that's just the network name. Idiot. Right. Pardon my ignorance. Some of the trouble we've got here is that unfortunately in these MacBook Boardviews the BGA pad numberings does not show up. So even though that should be A1, it doesn't show up as A1. So you have to kind of wiggle your way around back and forth. 3108. Okay, so G1, so that would be that there. And we want to find maybe B1. Oh, whoops, can't see. No, it's not a crook SMC, it's a crook, maybe a crook 3215. Just looking for B1 here. Banana 1. Where is Banana 1? Oh, here we go. Video? No, I'm obviously... Wait, no, I'm right. Audio. .3v3 UPC XA LDO. 3v3 UPC XA LDO. Interesting that they've drawn them separately. Yeah, they didn't just make a bridging here like they have here and here. They drew them completely separately. Okay, that's why it doesn't come up as a short. Which means we might have had junk under the board or something. So we're going to reball this, put it back on the board, and see how we go. Tom George, that's a big problem two ways. One is that, yeah, you're losing your topsoil. The other is that that topsoil is laden with all the nutrients and everything like that. So, yeah, naturally it tends to then give us a nice blue-green algae blooms wherever it settles enough. or it settles into the oceans and tends to cause algae issues on the reef if it is up north. Well, at least we can do these chips easy enough. I probably need to put some fresh paste on my spudger though. I'm still a little perplexed by the fact that this even has a short on that chip on that side of the board when that wasn't even where the damage was initially. Just goes to show you shouldn't be too prejudiced about locating these faults. Now Micro's doing well, getting deliciously fat. The vet's going to yell at us. I'm just trying to squeeze out some paste here. He's definitely, behavior-wise, he's definitely coming back to the normal self that we remember. I think obviously because he was in clearly a bit of an issue situation, his anxiety became substantially worse. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit here. Well, not stuttering, but I'm stalling a little bit here because I'm trying to do the job at the same time. You can always tell when my brain is having to work hard at something. It took a while for those balls to turn back. At least with these USB chips, they are very easy to reball. I mean, compare it to say an SMC. SMC requires a fair bit more effort. Just trying to get these wayward balls off. The balls occur because I don't have the perfect stencil, and yeah, it's just a 5S power chip stencil, so it's got the right pitch and size, but because it has this inner row, it tends to, obviously you get balls left behind, and they're not attached to anything, so they just sort of float around. Hey BK. Hey Tradie Trev. What's Tim L just done? Just done repairing dead A1466, CO899 was corroded off from the trace. I had to reconnect it. Oh good, yeah, so now you got another working machine. Always nice when you've got a stock supply of those boards. So was that a 3437 or a 165? I'm half anticipating I'm going to get trolled here. I'm going to put this chip back on and immediately it's going to come up with 5 ohms short again. $34.37, okay, they're the good ones to have. I mean, obviously the 165 has been a bit more recent, but the 165 has its quirks. More quirks than the 3437 at least anyway. I've got one ball left, bottom of the screen. What? It's not a ball, it's a flat disc of solder that it looks like a ball in the camera because you don't have the advantage of the 3D vision that I do. But good spotting, good spotting. Yeah, it's just a little soldered disc that occurs when a little bit of paste gets in under the stencil. But yeah, like I said, good eye to spot that. Alright, here we go. Hopefully we don't blow this off to the other side of the board. Probably got a little bit too much flux floating around there. I was pretty reluctant to get on, actually. I'm not even convinced it actually did reflow. And it looked like it was dancing, but sometimes that can be an illusion of the flux itself. Let's test that resistance. Hey Greg. JK Electrical, it's a, well, should we say experience thing? I don't know. It's a case of if you've set it down originally slightly offset from the pads, then you should see it shift into the pad alignment. Crikey, we got 5 ohms again. That's impressive. I'm going to check the other side of the board and see if any of those exhibit that same quality. So I'm going to guess it's the same one there. Yeah, so that's like 2.5 mega ohm. I'm fairly sure that was the same cap that I'm interested in. I suppose I should verify it rather than making such a grand assumption. And yeah, it is. So there and there to there. And we're measuring about, let's call it 2 mega ohm. Whereas, where's the one we were working on? This one here is back to showing 5 ohms. That's really interesting that it's showing 5 ohms. What it can be sometimes is that the multimeter probes themselves, because when you're measuring diode mode or resistance, it has to inject a small amount of power in to be able to detect what it is. And sometimes that small amount of power is enough to drive a gate open. Yeah. So I'd say that's that CD3215 is cactus. And hilariously, I don't have a spare. So that's really annoying me. So has anyone got a spare 3215 handy? I might have to go and see if there's any donor boards on Australian eBay that I can steal. Because unfortunately also the one board I had that I might have been able to steal from, I've kind of already fixed it, so I can't steal from it now. So that's a pain, because now we're going to be left in limbo wondering. Wondering if we were able to fix this or not. Very annoying. Ah well. Such is the way life goes sometimes. Fixing things, yeah, I did it before, but I'll do it again just because you asked. Basically it comes up as open circuit. Ooh, I just realised maybe I should check the other pin too. Maybe I'm being misled here by false assumptions. So yeah, that's 11 mega ohm. But what I'm thinking is, by false assumption, is maybe it's whatever's on that pin there that's the problem. Naturally I've got the board upside down. So it's just one off from the center. So center, this one here. And that's 1 mega ohm and dropping. So I don't think though that we're going to hit, 5 ohms anytime soon with that. Oh wait, nope, I'm wrong. Okay, so that line there is actually the problem. Unless no, I've slipped. That was the ground line. This one here is the one I'm after. And yeah, we're at 3 mega ohms, so it's, I'd say we've got a dud chip somehow internally. Let's see, Bivet Bassnet. Do you unlock lock MacBooks? No, I do not. I also do not unlock iPhones or anything. Although it is going to be curious with this new checkmate exploit. So with the checkmate exploit, it's going to be interesting to see whether tools like 3U tools do a turnkey solution where you can just simply plug in your iPhone and say, you know, unlock phone. Or what I'm kind of hoping to see is maybe they can finally unlock the ones, or free up some space on the ones that have died because of bad battery data lines, where the internal storage has run out or the log file has gotten too big, and which causes them then to go into the DFU mode fault. So if we can actually recover those, that'd be very good. Unfortunately, it's been a while now since that sort of thing came about, so a lot of people with those phones have probably since, you know, just moved on or whatever. But there will be a few people who've still kept them in storage in their pristine state. I'd be curious to see also what they're going to do for the iCloud lock status. Like maybe you can have the ability to reset the details and turn the phone back into a unlocked phone. If that is the case, then I expect we'll see a resurgence of the market value for a lot of these phones that are exploitable like that, and we probably will see an increase in theft of them too, I guess. Did you see Logitech bought the company that created Open Broadcaster? I did, funnily enough, see something today when I was searching for Open Broadcaster, because I was putting it on my iMac, and I saw that a commercial entity came up first on the hit list, and I was curious what that was. So it'll be interesting to see what Logitech can bring to it, if anything, or whether they're just going to try and bury it. But I think the secure enclave is still secure even with the exploit. Okay, oh, fair enough. I might drop the price down too. It's hard to say. I think certainly for the end product, like to the consumer or the person buying it second hand, because there'll be a glut of the working products again, if that was the case. Although, as Greg has just said, if the secure enclave is still secure, then we're stuffed anyway. But yeah, if there is a glut of products on the market, then yes, the end consumer will get a cheaper device. But also, though, because there'll be an increased demand from the supply side, as in stolen phones, then we should see a slight increase in the value of the products from that side of it. Logitech will try to profit off it. Well, I guess someone's probably going to fork it, and yeah, I mean, if Logitech produces a nicely improved version which sorts out a few things or adds some nice features, then that'll be great. But of course, obviously there's going to be a group of people who still continue on with the open source fork, which is the power of doing it that way, I guess. Hope it's for tinkerers and not thieves. Well, it's probably going to be for thieves as well. It's just inevitable. If there's money to be made somewhere, then that's just what happens. So, have you ever watched Steven Universe? No, I haven't. No. Hey Bryce, unfortunately you come in at the end of the job. I don't have a chip, so I'm going to have to not be able to finish this until I get a chip. And then there's no guarantee, in fact, that if I put down a replacement chip that it's going to work. And unfortunately I can't test or prove that either way, which is a pain. Greg, that is another theory I've seen floated around, that maybe Apple actually authorized the release of the exploit in order to bolster their iPhone 11 sales. I mean, it ties together in a reasonable way, and it's not entirely tinfoil hat conspiracy level like. It's more a case of maybe someone said, well, we need more sales of the iPhone 11. We don't have any overly compelling push for people to move to it, given that the 10 has been pretty good and the 6S still works great. So let's drop an exploit out there and get everybody in the government departments running towards us with the new versions. So do you have a Discord, Paul? I am on Lewis Rossman's Discord. I'm also on Soren's Discord. Could you take a chip from the other side of the board to test? I could do that, but I probably don't want to do that because it means I will be disturbing an existing chip. So I think it's going to be a case of patience will have to be the main driver here, and I'm just going to have to wait for the replacement chips to turn up. I do have the BO3 chips, but they're no good. As in, I'll put them on here, it's not going to work anyway. Yeah, Sparkies, if my name is my alias on there, you'll even see Paul Daniels fan channel or something like that. So I didn't create that, someone else did, and I just now populate it. It's alright. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. I'll let you guys get back to your sleep or whatever else you're doing. I am now, let's see, given that it's 4:15, go get myself a coffee, then get ready to go outside, do some watering around the yard. Getting quite hot out here. It's quite dry. We're at the end of the end of autumn. The spring here always starts out very dry. We don't really get our rain until, usually it doesn't break until around about Christmas. So we've still got another month or two of hot, dry weather, and that's what creates a bit of a fire hazard around here. Are you still Kuja on there? No, I think I changed my title to just what was it before? Drama Queen or something. I can't remember. No. Run jumpers from one side to the other, and yeah. I'll let you do that and video that one, fixing things. I'm not going to do that. Alright, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you all for participating on the Sunday, and as always, if you can like, share and subscribe, all that sort of stuff that YouTubers are supposed to say, because they're meant to be professional people, and we're trying to up the standard of everything. And I suppose I should have little links up here somewhere, which I don't. I can't even remember to make myself full screen here. Hey, let's do full screen. There we go, full screen. So like, subscribe, and whatever. One day I might get to that point. Anyway, until the next time, which may be tomorrow, you'll take care. I'll catch you later.